At one point, I walked in on two of my dorm mates, Jeremy and Clinton, while they're looking at pornography. At the time, I never looked at pornography. I never knew what it was, and I wasn't turned on by it, to be honest. But they said, "Come in." They were really scared. Well, they forgot to lock the door, I guess. They're like, "Shit, we were really scared." Like, all of a sudden, I was in this position of power, and they were treating me so good. All of a sudden, it's like, wow, I've got power. I didn't know it. They just like kiss up to me and like, come, sit. So I sat down, and it's cool. I'm in a position of power now. I didn't realize it, but they're treating me nicely all of a sudden. They're like, "Look at this." And they showed me this picture. I think I can still remember it. It's like this girl with curly hair. I think she had dark skin, and you could see her breasts. And I felt like, I don't really care for this. And then they're like, "Don't tell anyone, okay? If I tell someone, then I'm really going to be in deep crap with everyone. But if I don't tell, what's the worst that could happen?" Later on, it was discovered that people were going to computer net cafes at the malls, downloading porn onto diskettes, because that's what people used back then. Even the big floppy ones were used back then. And bringing it back to the dorm for further viewing. It was a big bust, and people were found out. I never ratted anybody out. Somebody ratted me out, said that I had been there that one time. But you know what? At that point, all the people who were involved kind of huddled together in a group. It was like, I was part of the group. You know, it was cool. It was like, we're all in trouble together. And I felt like I belonged. It was actually a damn good feeling. Even though someone ratted me out, I didn't realize that at the time. I just thought, oh, authorities going to find out somehow. Like, authorities have eyes in the back of their head somehow. But I got in trouble for that. I got suspended for one day. My parents got flown in, and I had to spend a day with them. They talked to me very awkwardly about sex, and told me a story about a boy who had a hole in the wall, and they asked me, "What do you think the boy did with the hole in the wall?" Because the hole in the wall was connected to the parents' room, according to the story. And I had no clue. In my mind, I thought, did the boy try to put his penis in the hole? And that's how clueless I was. And they're like, they continue. I never told them that. And they continue talking. They're like, the boy looked at their parents having sex. And to me, it was just like the grossest thing. Like, they didn't realize I wasn't into sex. I wasn't into porn. Being part of that porn ring kind of solidified my place in that culture. I was the little guy who would do anything just to fit in, kind of. I remember going to the principal's office feeling nervous as hell. People were getting expelled for this. Some people got expelled for this. Some people got 2-week-long suspensions where they had to fly back home. It was crazy time, I tell you. Whenever you're part of something like that, but it feels so exciting at the same time. It's different. And when you bond with people, even though you really weren't a part of it, even though I wouldn't even consider myself to be responsible for anything, and I don't think I should have gotten in trouble at all. But I wasn't gonna be that guy, you know. There were other activities also that I would end up joining people in, such as Andrew Heidebrink and Jeremy and Clinton Thiessen, is that we were allotted a specific amount of money every month. For the younger kids like me, it was 35 ringgit, I think, per month. And for the older kids, they could get up to, I think it was 60 ringgit per month. And no matter how rich your parents were, they could only send you that amount of money as an allowance, to be fair with everybody. With so little money, some people got really desperate. Those people I just named, they gathered this idea to go begging for money. And what they would do is they would go to the Midlands Mall and tell people this story that they had no money to get back, if they could have 5 ringgit for a taxi back home or not. They involved me. I actually did it once. It took a lot of guts to actually go out and do that, and to accost a perfect stranger and ask them for money. Yeah, I think I did it once. But they were doing it a lot, and they were getting lots of money. I remember my friend Andrew bought a couple CDs. I'm calling him a friend now because there was a point where we did feel like brothers. He was my roommate for a time. Those people eventually got caught for what they did and got into some trouble. I remember Andrew got suspended, I think, for a week. He had to go home, and I had the room to myself, which was excellent. One of the best things. And during this time, the dorm was getting really empty with a whole bunch of people getting kicked out from the school and whatnot. Things were actually getting better at that point for me. A lot better. And with those same people, I also discovered the joy of LAN gaming. Before the whole porn thing broke out, we were also playing games at these shops. It was the first time I played an FPS, a first-person shooter game, Quake. And it was really fun at the time. I really enjoyed playing Quake. It was crazy. I remember playing Red Alert was my favorite. Command & Conquer, another great one. as well as Age of Empires towards the end. That's when Age of Empires first came out. After the whole porn thing happened though, playing games at the shops became against the rules. It became illegal, but some of us still did it, and it was a lot more fun that it was illegal, because we were feeling like there's some kind of feeling of suspense that really started to kind of create this reward system of rewarding me for doing things that were illegal, but things that I thought were okay to do anyways. For example, a whole bunch of music was banned at the school period since I got there. Weezer, Smashing Pumpkins, the Blue album, you couldn't have it because it said "goddamn" in one of the songs. Smashing Pumpkins obviously swears in a few of their songs, and if there was more than a couple dams or shit or two, then the whole album would be banned for good. Or if there was any kind of sexual content to it, banned. And you couldn't have those. And if someone caught you listening to that, you could get in trouble. If someone found those CDs, they would confiscate them and you would lose them for good. I actually ended up losing a CD or two because of that, one of which wasn't actually a banned CD, and my dorm father had told me it was okay to have, but he ended up taking it from me anyways for some stupid reason. And that would be the Bush razor blade suitcase. Apparently he approved it, but then later on it was disapproved, I think. I don't know, it's stupid. I should probably say right now that my dorm father, Mr. Miner, actually found out years later that he got cancer and he died. So there's no way for me to reconciliate with him. Yeah. So I was talking about that feeling that kind of rewarded rebellion. To me, it's just kind of like the rules were made to break because rules were fun. I almost got this theory that people made these stupid rules just so that people could have fun breaking them, so people could feel that freedom of saying, no, screw you rules, I don't give a crap, stupid rules, I'm not going to follow them. And it makes it more fun to do those things. I kind of developed this rebellious attitude in me to thinking that the authorities were stupid and making stupid rules and punishing a majority of people who weren't doing anything wrong just for the few mistakes that a few bad people did. But I do also have to say that there's this one point near the end where I was actually starting to fit in and whatnot, where I was giving, I don't know what you call this, like friendly shoulder punch to this new Taiwanese kid who was a bit dorky. I don't think I meant anything bad by it, but I think it was to a certain point a kind of bullying, and I don't think I realized it, but I did that too. I don't know if it was the actions of what people had done to me that was rubbing off on other people, and a punch on the shoulder was something that was quite normal at the time, but I actually got in trouble for it. And if it wasn't for the kid who I'd actually done that to speaking on my behalf and saying that he didn't feel offended at all in any way by it, I might have been into big trouble for that. I'm not really proud of that, and I wish I could apologize for that. There's too many Jim Woos out there. Too many, and I couldn't find you really if I tried. Okay, one thing that I think is quite funny is, you know, those tests that assess not how good you are but how good your school is? Like an SAT, but not really an SAT. You take them in like grade 8 or something, and you have to fill in the circles with a pencil, and it's like an aptitude test, I think that's what they call them, and they have all different categories like math, language, and whatnot, and I had to take one of those, and they're just so stinking long, and there's like sections you have to take them separately, and it takes hours for you to do, and you do it in your homeroom class and whatnot. I got so fed up and bored with one of them, I just started filling out circles at random, just like straight lines and crap like that.